They begged me not to share this. Not because it's dangerous, not because it's offensive, but because once a man hears this, he doesn't go back. He doesn't go back to chasing. He doesn't go back to begging. He doesn't go back to doubting himself over a woman's silence. Because the truth I'm about to share breaks the spell. It flips the entire emotional game upside down. Once you understand this, women lose their control over you. Not in some cruel or manipulative way, but because the very foundation they've been standing on crumbles beneath them. That foundation is this. They need you to believe that their approval equals your worth. For centuries, men have been conditioned to believe they must earn a woman's attention, perform for it, sacrifice for it, bleed for it. We've been trained to think her love is a prize, that if we're good enough, handsome enough, successful enough, then maybe, just maybe, she'll stay. But here's the truth no one tells you. Her attention is not the prize. Your presence is. Your presence is what women chase when you finally realize who you are. Not your perfection, not your money, not your status, your energy. The energy of a man who no longer needs her validation to feel whole. The moment you wake up to this, everything changes. Not because you change her, but because you change yourself. You stop explaining yourself to women who already decided to misunderstand you. You stop chasing women who test you just to see how far you'll bend. You stop apologizing for your standards, and that terrifies them. Because when you don't need her to feel powerful, you become powerful. There's a reason women fear men who are detached. Not emotionally cold, not heartless, detached, emotionally grounded, clear, rooted, unshakable. Because women thrive on emotional leverage. They thrive on knowing they can make you jealous. They thrive on knowing you'll overthink when she pulls away. They thrive on knowing you'll break no contact first, that you'll text first, that you'll apologize first. But a man who doesn't react, a man who doesn't chase, a man who sits in silence and lets her wonder, that man becomes something else entirely. He becomes dangerous. Not because he's violent, not because he's cruel, but because he's free. Free from her moods, free from her games, free from her validation. And women know, once you become that man, they can't control you anymore. That's the truth they begged me not to share. Because once you live this truth, you start to see it everywhere. You see how quickly she changes when you stop reacting. You see how fast her energy shifts when you stop chasing. You see how she becomes anxious when you're unbothered. Because women are wired to chase what's scarce, to desire what's not easily available, to respect what doesn't need them. And once you step into that energy, the game is over. Here's what most men never realize. Your energy teaches her how to treat you. Not your words, not your promises, not your gifts. Your energy, because a woman doesn't respond to what you say. She responds to how you carry yourself, how you move, how you react, or more importantly, how you don't react. See, needy energy is repulsive. It's weak. It screams, please choose me, please like me, please love me. And whether she realizes it or not, her body and her instincts will push her to test that energy. Why? Because deep down, women don't want to lead. They don't want to control. They don't want to wonder if they're dating a man or raising a boy. They want to feel your strength without you having to prove it. Strength isn't in loud words. It's not in arguments. It's not in convincing her to treat you right. It's in the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth. A man who knows what he will and won't tolerate. A man who can sit in silence and let her reveal herself without chasing answers. Because here's the reality. A woman senses when your self-worth is up for negotiation. When you allow disrespect. When you tolerate mixed signals. When you keep showing up despite her pulling away. You're teaching her something every time. You're showing her how much she can get away with, how far she can push, how little she has to give. But when you protect your energy, when you hold the line without raising your voice, without explaining yourself, without chasing, that's when the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, she's not in control anymore. She's not sure where she stands with you. And uncertainty breeds desire. Uncertainty makes her think. Uncertainty makes her chase. Because women don't value what's handed to them easily. They value what requires them to show up as their best. And a man who protects his peace, he forces her to rise or fall away. She'll either respect your standards or she'll remove herself from your life. Either way, you win. Because you're no longer bending yourself out of shape just to keep a woman around. Think about it. How many times have you watched a woman lose interest in the man who tried the hardest, who texted too much, who apologized too often, who tolerated too little in return? And how often have you seen her obsess over the man who said less, who did less, but carried himself with quiet strength? That's not an accident. That's energy. And energy doesn't lie. Your energy is your frame. It's the silent message you carry into every interaction. When you walk with certainty, with boundaries, with calm, you teach her, you don't get to play games here. You don't get to disrespect me without consequence. I don't need you to validate me. And when a woman feels that energy, one of two things happens. She either steps up or she steps out. And both outcomes serve you. Here's what most men don't understand. Silence is power. Disappearing without warning, without drama, without explanation. It's one of the strongest moves you can make. Not as a strategy, not to manipulate her, but as a declaration. I no longer accept this. I no longer tolerate this. I no longer chase what disrespects my peace. Because here's the truth about women. They hear you the first time. When you say you love them, when you say you're hurt, when you say what you need. They hear it. If they don't respond, it's not because they didn't understand. It's because they don't respect you enough to change. So what do most men do? They explain again. They write longer texts. They send paragraphs trying to make her see their heart, their loyalty, their intentions. But every time you do that, you weaken your position. You show her exactly how far she can push you. You teach her that your standards are flexible. The more you explain, the colder she becomes. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. The more you try to make her see your worth, the less she values it. Because respect isn't earned through explanation. It's earned through absence. There's something terrifying about a man who walks away in silence. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but because he's simply done. Done explaining, done chasing, done trying to prove himself to someone who already decided to take him for granted. That silence echoes. It lingers. It makes her question everything. Why didn't he call? Why didn't he text? Why didn't he fight for me? And that uncertainty, it haunts her. Because now she realizes, you're not playing anymore. You're not begging anymore. You're not available anymore. And for a woman who thrived on emotional control, that is the ultimate loss of power. See, men are taught that vulnerability wins love, that opening up more, explaining more, giving more, will make her stay. But vulnerability without respect is weakness. And weakness never commands love. Real strength isn't in how loud you speak. It's in how quietly you walk away. How easily you protect your peace. How unbothered you remain by her games. Because a man who disappears in silence sends a message louder than any words ever could. I respect myself more than I desire you. And when you walk like that, she notices, she overthinks, she regrets, she starts questioning herself, not you. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you've already moved on. You've already healed, you've already built a life so full, she no longer fits inside it. That's the shift they begged me not to share. Because once you live this truth, you stop begging for love, and you start attracting respect.